That's probably the buzz, actually, the feedback.
Yeah, so get you both a wee bit closer and I'll shimmy over.
Pretend you're friends.
It's all about you. It's all about you tonight. Absolutely. And before you leave, we'll need some some requests for you to listen to that.
Okay.
I'll let you have a thing. So we're coming in one, so we've got a wee minute or two to kill before we're back. Lovely. So we're going to talk about your beautiful new venture.
So when we come back in, you introduce the two guests.
Yeah.
I'll come in and say, if you've got any questions,
Yes, brilliant.
this is the number, and
There we
I'll do
are.
the same posting, and then back to you.
Great stuff.
We're just trying to make out we know what we're doing.
Very
Very impressive.
We haven't co-presented together before,
No.
so this is a bit experimental.
Well, it looks very slick today.
Does it? Really?
Yeah.
Looks
Hang
can be
on.
so deceiving.
Hang on, yeah.
Looks can be so deceiving, so we're just going to come back. In 11,
Make sure you hit the right buttons.
5, well, that was a wee bit of Boogie Wonderland. I hope you enjoyed it. Were you boogieing? Were you?
Well, the little bot was moving a bit.
I saw a little bit of chair shuffling and a bit of shoulder shimmying going on.
I can tell you, I am officially the best armchair dancer in this studio tonight.
It's true. I can verify that. It is true. So, we are here with Dave Algeo and Ron Lawson. We're going to hear more about a collaboration. So we've heard a little bit from each of you about what you do and what you believe in and what matters to you. And it's all about helping people in life. But we're going to hear a bit more in a minute. But first of all...
Well, guys, out there, if you have any questions for these two gents, I'm sure somebody's going to come in and ask about sprouts. But to do that, you can text in on 07858 429316. You are listening to Koast Radio and Southeast Northumberland on 106.6 FM.
Absolutely. So we're proud to be here tonight, but remember, this is actually your show. It's all about you. So what we need you to do is ask questions, get involved in the interview, and we also want to hear your requests. So first of all, big shout out to Missy B, another shout out to Rachel Young, to Paul Scudder, Laura Swaddle. They've all said they're listening in tonight and thoroughly enjoying it. Thank you for messaging to say hello. Right, back to you two. Okay, so coming back in, what we're going to talk about now is there is a plan being hatched. There's something beautiful brewing, and it's a unique collaboration that's coming together. So this is bringing together decades of frontline policing experience meets coaching experience, academia, and NHS mental health experience. So we've got coaching, leadership, training, design, all coming together to inform a sort of new collaboration, and it's going to bring a sort of very unique experience to the people of the northeast of England. Do you want to invite you both to come in and say a little bit more about, what this is, what's it called, who's it for?
Yes, certainly. Well, it starts with I've got a community interest company which is called Atlas Action. Atlas, which is arts-based transformative learning and support, and to capitalise on what we do to use arts-based approaches to help people, as we described earlier, to experience things in a different way, and perhaps even bringing in some of the bushcraft,
It's going to be bushcraft. I'm already excited. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, both Dave and yourself, Polly, don't forget.
I will be there.
Yeah,
I'll be
absolutely.
hovering in the sidelines.
Adventurous coaching.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll be hopefully attracting some funding, so we can create some mini adventures to help people, sweat those sprouts in a very different way. To experience life a little bit differently, create some transformative learning environments, whether that's on the coast or in a woodland or what have you, to explore some of the possibilities of personal and professional growth. So that's what we're hoping to do, and to capitalise on Dave's, yourselves and my experience to be able to do that. Some of the things that we might be doing is some scenario-based survival situations.
Can you say more about what that means for people
Oh
listening?
well, yeah. We might, pretend that there's been a bit of an air crash, a bit Bear Grylls-y, if you
Bit Bear
like, because
Grylls-y.
people seem to love that, you
Yeah.
know, and figure out how we would survive in those types of scenarios to explore what we do. The natural born leaders in us will come to the fore, and working as a team.
Yes.
Sometimes being alone to face life's problems
Yeah.
can be a bit challenging, and this is very much a community-based social interaction too. So that would be pretty cool. We have done some really good zombie stuff in the past, which was awesome.
Do you want to say a bit more about that?
Oh,
Because
right,
it's hilarious.
yeah. We used to, in the woods, where we used to run another company called Taught in the Woods. We had a team in collaboration with a company that did zombie runs, and we had a healthy supply of zombies, and we created.
So this is actors that are
Actors,
behaving,
with all
pretending to be
yeah.
zombies, and then you're putting people in a scenario where it feels like a real
absolutely
experience is
a
happening.
real experience, and bringing in all the different tasks that you need to do to be able to survive in that type of scenario,
Yeah.
which was absolute fun, terrifying for
Yeah.
us as facilitators, but everybody really enjoyed it. We
That's
do
great.
that, but also from a more gentle approach is using some things like African drum circles, which I'm a facilitator for, a Native American flute, making frame drums, getting really back to nature, and it's lovely, that type of thing.
Just,
Creating sculptures in the woodland, actually digging up some clay and making some little clay sculptures that we can get fired and people can take away with them.
And what period of time is this over? Is it a one night episode and then followed by another night? Is there a program, or is it just how does it work?
It's scalable. We can do it on a day.
Right.
Just for people who only got availability for during the day because of childminding issues or what have you. We can have weekends, we can have overnighters, that type of thing, or even week-long courses.
Right.
So it's scalable. It is scalable, and people tend to, particularly families, it works really well for families. Like, I always thought it was going to be dads and lads. That was
Yes.
the thing.
Yeah.
But the amount of fathers and daughters that used to come along, and it would be brilliant because we would teach part of the activity, because the parents tend to take over, right?
Absolutely.
So we teach part of the activity to the parent and part of the activity to the child, so they then teach each other to do it. And oh my goodness, what a bonding exercise that is.
That's lovely.
It is
isn't
absolutely.
It's almost like
lovely.
giving two people pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that they've got to put together to work out how to make
Exactly.
make
Do
something
you
happen.
know what's really cool about that? And for me, the biggest bugbear in modern day life is how many people don't have the ability to communicate without using a keyboard or abbreviation text, and to just sit face to face, particularly with a member of your own family, and say, "Oh, Mum, you haven't got this right," or "Dad, you're
Yeah.
letting the team down." I
It's
love that.
wonderful.
Or even for kids to praise their parents, because it feels like parents are in a position of power to know better or know more, and to be telling children whether they're right or wrong. And I love that, if, for anyone who's listening, if you're a parent, you'll know that you'll learn lots about life from your children.
Absolutely.
You do learn a lot, and so how beautiful to let them teach us.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things about the power of immersion, which is kind of what we're talking about, because we live our day-to-day lives, and there's all sorts of cues that dictate generally how we communicate with each other or don't communicate. Take people out and immerse them in it, then you can bring out this other way of thinking, because it knocks those barriers down. I mean, we're talking about nature, whatever. I've run sessions with kids where we're given forensic awareness, as part of their science aspect at schools, and you get them into a room and pretend they're in an incident room straight away, and I'm leading them, and they're my CSIs, and I need you to step up and go and investigate this crime scene. We've got a mock crime scene set up, and they get into it, and it breaks down the barriers, and they said, "Sir, is this real? Is this real?" I'm not saying, let's just go. One of them's they're getting dressed up in their white outfits. One wants to be the exhibits officer. Another one wants to do this. And you can bring out the natural kind of inclinations and preferences out whilst also dropping away some of the barriers you have, the self-talk. You talk about the talk we have, like, I'm no good at this, I'm rubbish at that. But if you change the scenario and immerse them in it, you can see actually they just believe they're not. And I love that kind of thing. That's where this whole idea of the working together, the immersion, and just let's drop away the barriers and the self-talk that limits you, and let's have a bit of fun and engage and communicate in a different way.
It's a mirror of life, isn't it? To feel like to have to do something you're uncomfortable about, or you don't feel like you know enough about, to stick with it. So that's resilience building, isn't it? It's just not stepping away from a problem, but it's having to stick with it and outgrow it, and then going through the frustration, and then going through the and then that confidence, and then the celebration and being proud of that thing you've done. You have to be in that journey to get to the end of it. You can't just and in moments like that, I suppose people are having to sit with all the messy middle and learning, and I guess there's a lovely opportunity to find out at the end what's changed and what people learned about themselves, but also how can that apply to other areas of life. It's all transferable learning, isn't it?
And we really want to push this out to people who perhaps can't afford it.
Yep.
Hence we want to attract funding so it's free at point of use.
Yes.
We have lots of people come on previous courses and they've had the money and they have the experience, but some people can't afford that.
So if you're in part of a company, you might get this as a team building event or a leadership training, which is lovely. We want everyone, we want everyone to feel better about themselves and their lives. But who do you think this is most for? Who do you think this could really help? Can you envisage that, persona of a person that might get, or different kind of almost categories of people that this might help? Who do you think?
Well, from my experience of running it in the past, it's families, friends, people who are alone, who want to make friends. And it's all done in a really, really nice, welcoming and safe environment.
You said something a couple of sentences ago and I wasn't rude enough to interrupt, because I am often rude. But fun. I love the idea that you can bring fun. As we all know, that smile can do 1,000.
Absolutely.
But I like the idea of fun. I like the idea of family fun.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being able to do it together with your kids, because that in itself is a bit of a challenge. And I reckon the competitiveness in that is unbelievable.
It is nice to watch.
Yeah, and also that it's like you're creating unique experiences, so people might not have ever experienced, the backdrop of even just being out in nature or being in a woodland space or building a den or whatever it is you would create. People might not have experienced it, and that really what's happening is there's space for them to develop as a person.
Absolutely.
It's just pure and simple, isn't it?
Purely and simply that.
And I think just to draw in the fun and the experience, that's the basis of it. But what we're also looking at is drawing that links into this is confidence building, because ultimately we want them to feel better about themselves, feel a belief in themselves that they may not have had. So it could be, the answer to your question, I guess, is to widen it out, is potentially anybody. I mean, men's groups or men who are drawn to, and I'm only saying this because of experience with these groups. So there's, I'm sure women's groups and all sorts, but there's this idea of how do I bond? I feel isolated, lonely, addiction, those kinds of things. And how do I rebuild my sense of I can versus I can't, or I'm not worth it? That can apply to anybody, to be fair. Many of us in all sorts of challenges.
Anybody.
I think part of the challenge there, guys, is, for people don't do anything in life without a benefit. Everybody does something for some reason. And I guess what you're saying is, it's that way of communicating what's in it for me. And you've mentioned at least a dozen benefits to that, and I think if you are able to get that out there in a format where people get it, in simple terms, I love the idea. I keep going back to fun. I just think the idea of having fun.
And watch this space, it is, as Polly rightly says, it's developmental at the moment. We're incubating these ideas, and not be long before we'll have that format of what the benefits are, how to apply, who's eligible, that type of thing. And if you don't mind, we would use Koast Radio as a medium to be able to share that on your website. And
I think the answer to that is yes.
Let's get it out there.
What we need to do in terms of our relationship with our community is put it in a way where people get it.
absolutely.
You know, speaking from a media background again, without sounding boring, you have to get to a point in your journey where people understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And, you know, for years now, we overcomplicate the language to sound good instead of keeping it simple, keeping it stupid, to the point of, yeah, I know what it is, I know what I get, I know there's a cost, but I also know there might be a way of having some funding to help me achieve that. So keep it simple, keep it stupid, and I think, you know, from our point of view, if we can help, I'm sure we will.
Excellent.
So let's come back in a minute. We're going to have some more tunes, and then we're going to find out more about how people can learn more about how to get in touch. We'll find out more as things evolve. But I love that it's a evolving thing that you're doing, that, you know, it's organic. So it'll grow and it'll change.
If anybody's got any ideas out there,
Yes.
we'd love to hear them.
So if you want to ask a question to Dave, Algeo and to Ron, please get in touch. You can phone, you can text 07858 429316, call 01670 432107, and we want to hear from you. What tunes do you want to hear from us tonight? Right, more music to come. We'll be back. There we go. Lovely. Wee break.
Do we need more tunes in?
Yeah, feel free to jump in here.
Yeah, that's what she's for a minute.
Do you need anything? Do you need another drink? Do you need a wee